catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.
All right, everybody, are you ready? This is Crystal. I am so excited to have you here on Storytime. I want you to know that now you can be seen and heard. Yes, Storytime has expanded, and you will be able to see yourself streaming live on multiple platforms. So come on over and get with us and check it out. I want you to go ahead and schedule your interview, and you never know where they might find you online. So, thanks for watching. See you somewhere. Yeah, so let's get ready. Let's get ready to bring our guest up. I'm going to move this out the way. I'm going to come on camera so you can see me. And we're going to get ready to move this out the way so we can go ahead and do what we do. And yeah, we'll get started. Just give me 1 second here. Thank you so much. Take a moment to let some people know that you are watching Storytime. Let them know you are here. Let them know you are here. And we'll get ready to do this. Yes, indeed. And we are excited about what's going to take place. Excited about what's going to take place here. All right. So we're ready. We're ready. We're going to get started, and we're going to bring our guest up with a round of applause. And we know she's waiting in the waiting room, and we're not going to keep her waiting any longer. Geraldine, how you doing?
I am well. I'm well. I hope you are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are so excited. As I was reading some of the stuff you did, I said, my. I said, I knew you was making some things happen out here, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here with you today. How's your day going?
Doing well. First, let me give all praises to the Most High.
Yes, 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 yes.
Let me give all praises because I can do nothing. We can do nothing without His help, without
That's right.
His guidance,
That's it.
without just hearing the voice of the Most High. So I give all the honor and all the praise to the Most High.
Yes, ma'am. He gives us breath in our body, movement of our limbs, and all faculties, and all that good stuff, right?
All of it, every time.
We definitely
All of it and every time.
can't take none of that for granted. Geraldine, as I was looking, and did I say your last name right? Did I pronounce it right?
Alshamy.
Alshamy. I got it right because I know it took me a while to get that thing right. And your name sounds like an activist name too. You ever been told that? Yeah, it sounds like an activist name. And I told the people, I said, we're gonna have a young lady here. She's an activist, social justice advocate, community leader, all that good stuff. But before we go into all that stuff that you do, that you've known for in the area, we like to start with the basics. And the basic is like, I always ask one general little question, and I have to bio and everything, but I always like to ask my guests this question, like, who is Geraldine Alshamy? Like, where you from, your upbringing, and things like that. Tell the people who never met you before, who have no clue, who is Geraldine Alshamy?
Well, Geraldine Alshamy started out as Geraldine Lewis, a daughter of sharecroppers who were Blackfoot Indian and a maroon from Jamaica. Um, I lived the very first part of my life isolated in the community with my family. Nobody, just my family for 6 years, isolated from people. Didn't play with other children until I got started school, until outside the family, that is. So I lived a pretty um
Sheltered?
sheltered life, but a very interesting life. My father was a Nobia man. I don't know if people know what a Nobia is, but a Nobia is a shaman.
Okay.
My grandmother was a healer. My grandfather was a builder, and I never knew that why I was into. I never knew for a long time. I never knew that my grandmother and my great grandfather had so much impact on the education of slaves back in the late 1800s and 1900s. My grandfather built the first church, what they called a church then was a school. School and church, you had it right there together. So he built the first one in Johnson County. My grandmother brought the teachers in
Wow.
Johnson County, and I grew up through my life, Crystal, and I didn't know that until I started doing this work, and I started looking back at some of the history and whatever, and I was led to a little church in Johnson County that still stands in Johnson County that my great grandfather built. And I had heard stories about, from my mother about how she was denied education and she had to work on the farm. So I was blessed in that my culture, the knowledge of who I am, those things were never taken away from me. So I'm very, very blessed for those things. And
Wow. Well, I have to tell you that I have always noticed your passion and everything. Now, was you a passionate child? Was you outspoken as a little girl? I mean, did you imagine you would be this person now? Talk to me about your childhood. Was you a classroom leader in elementary and middle school?
No, I mean, I succeeded in whatever I wanted to do, but no. Um, I basically, my grandmother, I was a grandma's girl, and I read things like that. I never learned to read in school. I was reading when I came to school.
Mm,
And so my grandmother would have me in the, where you go in the woods and look for, because there wasn't anybody for me to play with.
right.
It wasn't anybody for me to play with. There was 7 brothers, but they were all, older, or maybe one or two. But one had died, but I didn't really have it. And one sister, she was like 8 years older than me, so I stayed with my grandmother a lot. So going into the woods and finding plants, and she would teach me about the plants that was there and what they were good for. And my favorite thing was finding toothbrush. A
Okay.
toothbrush was a piece of a stem of a tree that had a little end on it, and you had to crack the end off so that they could brush their teeth with the end of that thing, or they put it in a snuff box. And my job was to crack it because my grandmother didn't have teeth, so I had to chew that toothbrush up.
Wow. She said
Um,
snuff. I ain't heard nobody say snuff in a long time. Man,
yeah,
who had snuff? I think it was my grandmother used snuff. I think my grandmother used to use
yeah,
snuff. Wow.
yeah. That was as I said, my grandmother's side of the family was Blackfoot Indian, so they sniff stuff, and they, you know, and one of the things that I learned from that God prepares you early on, Crystal. I learned when I was little, it was a lot of us. So if you started arguing and it got too bad, they would say, "Call Pa."
Mm-hmm.
Pa he was old. He was my grandmother's father.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Pa would come, he would tell you to get in a circle and get on your hockers. And that meant sit on your feet. So you had to sit on your feet. And we did that a lot. And he would have a branch from a tree that was cut like a slingshot, a Y. And he would introduce that he called it the talking stick. So he would introduce the talking stick to you, and and the one thing you had to be clear of: if you open your mouth while anybody else was talking to you, because he would let everybody get their side out and whatever. But if you open your mouth when somebody else was trying to talk, or you say, "I responded to you," you got what he called the knucklehead sandwich.
Ooh, God. Listen, people don't know about the knuckles. I mean, because I grew up on Knuckles, the card game. You know about that? There's
No.
a card game called Knuckles. Yes. So, see, when we came up in a different time, so Knuckles was prevalent, and there was such a game. A lot of people play spades now, but we played Knuckles.
So
And so
what
I know
happened?
about the Knuckles. I know about them Knuckles. Knuckles is where they take the cards, and if you lost, they hit the cards on your knuckles. And
This
girl,
one, they take the knuckles. They take the knuckles and hit it on your head. And
man,
hit it on your head. No, yes.
wow, Elevate with Vern. Wow, I haven't seen you in a minute. Come on over to YouTube. I'm over here, Storytime Podcast with Michelle Crystal, over on YouTube, interviewing with a civil rights, I call her a civil rights advocate, community advocate, a civil rights leader, everything, because, it's Black History Month. So, man, definitely come on over to the YouTube channel. But let me tell you right now. So, when you were a child, did you ever run for a class president, or did you ever run for a
Never,
leadership role or anything? So
never.
when did you figure out that this was something you wanted to do? When did you find your voice and your confidence?
I learned from my mother. My mother, I always say that my mother didn't take stuff. Like I said, we sharecropped, but my mother was a woman that had her own voice.
Mm-hmm.
She did not, if a white woman ever called her a lie, she got slapped. I don't know what's the woman's name in The Color Purple.
You said she got slapped. Okay, mama wasn't playing.
The white woman got slapped. She would slap her, And I don't know what's the woman's name that played in The Color Purple that went to jail. what was that
Really?
stage?
Oh,
Celia.
look.
Was it
Oh,
Celia? What?
girl, you just
I
messed
think it
me
was
up with
Miss
the
Celia,
snap.
but I don't
It
know
could
why
have been
Miss Celia
silly.
didn't never go to jail. I don't know why Miss Celia didn't never go to jail. But Miss Celia would slap a white woman in a minute, and the white men. And I always noticed how the white men on the farm, they respected her.
Yes.
They respected her. They came to her for wisdom. They came to her for knowledge, and she was always just she had her voice. And I remember when integration started, and I remember this man. His name was Mr. Mack, and he would come and sit on the porch and talk with her, and he said, "Well, Mary, I just don't think that we ready for integration." I said, because if I mess around and start with integration, and then next thing you know, we gonna be having mongrels."
Mm-hmm.
And my mama said,
Wow.
my mama said, "You gonna be having what? Mongrels."
Was that supposed to be the whoremongers? Is that what that was? Is that what that
Mongrels.
was?
That's like a mixed breed. That's what they call a dog when he's mixed breed,
Oh,
and
okay.
a
Okay.
mongrel.
Okay. Wow.
So
Wow.
my mama said, "You don't worry about you don't worry about the mongrels when they sucking on our titties."
Ooh. Mama was a feisty something. Mama didn't play. And that's where you got it from. You take after your mama.
I
Wow.
take after my mama.
Now I get it. Now the
Yeah,
apple don't
my
fall.
mama didn't play.
It don't
My
fall far
grandmother
from
did.
the tree.
My grandmother either though. The women in the community who were abused by their husbands, and that used to happen a lot. They came to my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
for
she do?
safety. Yeah, they came to my grandmother for safety because the men didn't mess with my grandma.
Ooh, mama, grandma would set them straight.
Grandma, not only was she set them straight,
Come on, don't tell me she would castrate them now. Grandma was
no, but
tough, huh?
she would pull that gun, and they knew she wasn't playing with it either.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
came from a strong. Remember, they used to have a saying about the black Indians, and that all we know is fight.
Yeah. Listen, so you know how to stand up for yourself. So talk to me about what grade was you in when you began to use your voice and realize, okay, I want to speak up for things. I want to stand up for things. I want to make a difference. What age was you and how did you start?
I never made that decision. I just did it. I mean, I just
Ooh,
never made a decision. I mean, I've always, I mean, I had to use my voice when I was at 9 years old. I had surgery on these feet that got um deformed from sitting on the hockers.
mm-hmm.
So I was out for about a year, and I came back, and I had to have walk all over again, and I had to have cast on my feet, on my legs, and that kind of thing. So when I went back to school, I had to wear this special shoe, and it had a sole on it about that big. And so there were two girls, Dolores Vick and Sheila Hyman. I'll never forget them. And they picked at me the whole while I was on those shoes. And I didn't say nothing, but I made it up in my mind. Whenever I get to the place where I can really walk and I can really run, in case I can't beat you, I'm going to tear your asses up.
Wow.
And I remember,
That's all right. You know what? That's how we had to be. So that's it. So you didn't had no fear in you. You was like, okay, yeah, I got something for you.
Yeah, I planned. I planned, and the day that I learned that I could run, that's the day that I went on the bus. I went on the first one. I went on her bus, and I beat her on the bus. The other one I couldn't get her because her bus had left. But God don't like ugly.
No, we don't.
The next day when I came back to school, about a day or so after that, we found out that she had put a fingernail polish bottle on the stove, because you had those you had the heaters then. You didn't have the heat going through the walls. You had heaters, and she had placed that nail, because used to they would say take the nail polish bottle and sit it on the heater and let it warm if it clumped up, and she set it on the heater, and it exploded, and it hit her in her eye.
Wow.
And so she had a dead eye from that point on. So I always felt like that was God's justice.
Yes.
Wow. That was God's justice. So yeah, and like I said, I had a really deep sense of righteousness of what was right and what was wrong. And my grandmother used to tell me, and and this is probably where it came from. And she would tell me, Grady, you're gonna be a blessing to the young and the old one of these days.
Yes, yes, yes. To
And
the
so she
young
would
and
always, yeah. So she put it in me. She put it
wow.
in me. Because the
So,
first,
what was your first act of community activism? Like, do you remember what was the first thing you did? Because you've changed laws and you've sued and made things happen. But do you recall what was the very first thing? I know that you created your ministry, Mary Magdalene Ministry. Was that the beginning, or where did it start? And how old was you?
no, it started with let's see if I can remember the first thing. I don't know. There was a woman in my community, Miss Fanny Corbett. She was an activist in the community, and I always admired Miss Fanny. I always admired her. And she sparked something in me that was already in me, but she sparked something. And so I used to do things in the community with her, showing up as the young person in the community with different things, whether it be housing, whatever. But then I think the next thing was there was hog farms. No, the next thing was I started working at Special Care Center, which was a statewide facility under Governor Hunt's leadership.
Was that before you did? Because I know you began your career as a member of the Black Workers for Justice in 1981, where you helped.
Yeah, let me go back to that one. Let me go back to that. Yeah, I started out early, like 18, 19, 20, somewhere like that. And there was a man named Abner Berry. Abner Berry was a great union leader up in New York, New Jersey, somewhere like that. But when and Saladin Muhammad had taken him in. Saladin was the lawyer. He used to lead legal services. And anyway, he took Mr. Berry in. Abner Berry was a very famous man. He was a very famous man. And anyway, but he was ill. He was very sick. And so starting the Abner Berry Freedom Library was my first thing. That first major thing that I
where you brought about change, and that was in Rocky Mount, right?
Yeah, that was in Rocky Mount.
I was looking at everything that you wrote, and then I saw where it said that you also, you've done so much, and I was like, wow, okay. So I saw that one, and you started to want to talk about something else. I don't want to take you off sequence because I know you may have something, but I also, hey Lisa, how you doing? Hey, Elevate with Vern. Listen, y'all sit tight, because this young lady right here, I'm gonna tell you something. This young lady right here, she done brought about some things, okay? So let's see. And you did that in 1981. And then after that, in 1990, you organized the first healthcare union for healthcare technicians at the state-owned facility. And you sued the state of North Carolina advocating for quality healthcare for long-term mental health patients suffering from neglect and abuse. Wow, by being overworked and stressed and underpaid staff. So you literally were the plan. I mean, so talk to me about how you went about doing this, because there may be somebody out here, they marching, they organizing things, but you are changing laws and implementing things that is really impacting the staff and at the state level. So how did you do that?
I was more or less looking to protect the patients more so than the staff. I mean, I did want to help the staff, because I know that working the way we were working, long hours, we were working with the patients that came out of Dorothy Dix. This is when they were moving the patients from Dorothy Dix down to Wilson to the Special Care Center, from Cherry Hospital, from Butler Hospital. They were deinstitutionalizing people or institutionalizing them in another way. And so, like I said, because they had mental illnesses, a lot of times the staff was beating them. I mean, they would get decubitus, they'd leave the facility, we wouldn't know where they were. I mean, it was just some atrocities happening to those people because
Yes.
they didn't have a voice for themselves. They didn't have a voice because they didn't have the minds. If they curse somebody out, you already not getting paid and whatever, and somebody mess around and hit you and punch you, and some of them get punched back, a rib get cracked, twist arm get broke, put them in the shower, drop them out of the Hoyer lifter, break their hips, and I mean they were cussing and raising hell, but they have a mental illness. And
Yes.
so and then this, we never had enough staff, and so I documented, I documented in the notes, in my notes. I documented in my notes. I documented, and I would call the Division of Facility Services, make reports to Division of Facility Services for them to come in and do spot checks.
So you know what? I think the last show I did was Sunday, where I talked with a dementia care practitioner, and we were talking about dementia, and she was giving tips. And one of the things she said, when people were starting to observe their loved ones and they were going to have dementia, one of the things she said was document what you see. So documentation is important in
Very
every
important.
aspect, no matter what you're doing. If you are going to take it to someone, you need to have a sequence of events. You need to be able to tell them chronologically what happened, because they need something to go by. So that's really, really good. And when you document it, make it legible so somebody can see it, if you're going to write it or if you're going to type it or whatever you're going to do. So I'm glad you said that, because documentation.
Listen, if you didn't write it, it didn't happen. I learned that the hard way.
Wow.
If you don't document it, it never happened.
Hmm.
And I always tell people, where is black most powerful? Where is black most powerful? When you put it on white people.
Right. So here's the thing. Wow. So did somebody teach you to do documentation?
Yeah, just what I said. through trial and error, I learned to do. When my mom got sick at that special care center, my mom got sick, and I was taking some family medical leave to take care of my mom, and the DON. I used to be a nurse, and so she encouraged me to take that time and take care of my mother. And so I was out for about 4 months, maybe more. But anyway, when I came back, they had written me up. And so I wanted to know why they had written me up for excessive absenteeism. And she went to tell me, was showing me all the days that I was out, that I was out. I said, but you told me that I could take the time that I needed. And she said to me, did I put it in writing? And I said, no, you didn't write it. You didn't write it down. She said, well, I never said it. And that's what taught me.
Wow. And so I just want to say this. So I don't really think, like, you be out there in the community in Raleigh, in the Research Triangle area, you be doing a lot of things. And I know you always are bringing up things like what you said to me earlier today when you asked me, did I know? Mm-hmm. You pay attention to what is happening. You watch things with politics. You watch the things in the community. You watch everything, and then you go into action mode. And I saw that today, because you was like, okay, Kristen, we need to talk about this, because this is important. This is something that needs to be addressed. And so I can imagine, because just looking at the list of things that you have done and the way you asked me if I was aware of that particular thing today, now when I put two and two together, I say, oh, I see how she do it now. You find out about it, then it's like, okay, we got to get in motion. Let's get some people on this and let's go. And so that's a beautiful thing. So you lead the charge, and I'm sure you're at the front of the line for a lot of this stuff. So I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for what you do, because you've been doing this for a minute, and you still
52 years.
Yeah, so we want to say thank you. We want to acknowledge you. It's Black History Month, and you are an individual. See, story time, right? I tell people we're recognizing ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and you are one of our people right here locally that a lot of people may be sleeping on you and not even understanding the power of your pen. you had a powerful pen, young lady, because you bringing about changes in laws, and you doing things that are helping people get paid more, helping keeping people safe. So my, and that's amazing. That's amazing. So yes,
We have to think of our community as our family. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? What I
yes,
want, how can I not want for my community what I want for my family? Because my community is what's going to keep my family stable. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
You can't have one without the other. So
yes,
if we don't fight and if we don't work for our community, if we're gonna want things to be better for our children, then we have to fight for our community. Where what voice we can give, we need to give it. And it's our spiritual obligation.
yes, yes. And I know you said we were going to talk about some things spiritual, but before we go into that, I just want to say now, a lot of people are just meeting you for the first time, but today we lost a big figure, Jesse Jackson. He took his last breath. He laid to rest, and my, did he do some things? I just want to take a moment. I did do a moment of silence, but I just want to take a moment and ask you, you know, what will you always remember about Jesse Jackson on this day that he has now finally taken his rest? What is something that he has done that has stuck with you, maybe impacted you in some kind of way? Is there anything?
You know, can I be honest?
I want you to be honest. I want you to be honest.
I respect I respected Jesse Jackson as I respected Dr. King, but I always felt like that they got more audience than the people who were actually doing the work.
Mm.
You know,
I can relate to that. I can relate to that because sometimes people get caught up in the names, in the figures, and who they are, and I respect that too. But on that note, though, what is it that he did do that he did that you will always remember him for?
I can't say it. I guess maybe the slogan. I can't say. I can't say. I really can't say because my focus was on the people on the ground who were making the
Gotcha.
difference, and on the ground who was making the difference. And I never saw how it benefited what Jesse Jackson did. I don't want to say this on this day, but I never saw. I never understood. I'm not saying he never did anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I never knew because
Right.
I was so busy looking at what was happening on the ground that it wasn't reaching the people. You know what
So
I'm saying?
so that I can respect that. So what you're saying is let's not get caught up on the figures and the names and the people with the titles. Let's get caught up on what needs to take place
No,
and see
on the
how we
people
can
who
help.
are doing the work, on the people who are on the ground fighting, being locked up, being abused, and whatever. Those are the people that because what happens is they will give us a leader, and Doctor, I know that Dr. Jackson, I know that several of them, when they came into the community, they charged $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 to come into the community to speak. They didn't come for free. They didn't come for free, you know. And so I don't, but those people who were out on that line, those people who were fighting, those people who were going to the legislation, trying to speak and their first time that speaking about stuff, or those people who stood with you on an issue, you know what I'm saying? Those are the people that I paid attention to. I don't do because it doesn't have the impact, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Because it's the people on the ground who make the noise, who show up. That's why people respond. Not these people benefit from it.
Yeah, I get you. So let me ask you something. So, okay, so you did that and we're talking about you because you were one of those people on the ground. What you did in '93, you also won a case against North Carolina Special Care for Wilson County, and you brought about change in the administration. See, I'm saying you bring it about change in administration. Then in '94, you coined the phrase homeschool prison cycle. Let's talk about that. The homeschool prison cycle, advocating for Black boys that were pushed out of school into the criminal system. Let's talk about that for a moment. Talk about what happened then.
Well, I began to see so many of our young Black boys in the community standing around at the corner stores smoking weed, young boys that should have been in school. And I began to wonder, why these kids are not in school.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not in school? And so I went up and I started asking them, why you're not in school? And they would tell me I'm suspended. And some of them wouldn't, they shy, wouldn't say nothing, but basically they had been suspended. And when I asked them to take me to their parent so that we could find out why they had been suspended and what was going on with many times the parent didn't even know that they had been suspended because they hadn't received the letter from the school letting them know that the child had been suspended. So your kid is at the corner store selling weed and smoking weed and whatever, and you out working and you thinking that he's at school and he's down at the corner because he's been suspended for some foolishness,
Wow.
But the real reason was because it was during a time when Columbine took place. It was also when we changed the curriculum for education, which was Common Core. And so at the same time, we had to have the student standard promotions. In other words, testing came into place.
Mm-hmm.
And many of our Black boys was not passing the test because they would have an ADHD, this and that, and so they weren't passing the intergrade test. So they tied testing to to teachers, educators' salary.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you tie salary to education, then you're gonna get what we got. And what we got was let's get rid of those who are not performing well.
Wow. So, but I love what you did because you found a way as a community, and you found a community-based alternative way to deal with the criminalization. And you with some other community members started Phelps Athletic Club, where the youth were trained in boxing and karate to divert the anger and teach them discipline. So
Yes,
you became the first Black and female referee of American Amateur Boxing Federation.
yes, ma'am.
Wow. The first Black
First woman, and first
female.
not just being Black, but I was the first woman to pass as a referee for the
Wow. Isn't
American
that
Athletic.
something? Y'all see how we just never know we never know who we talking to and what they accomplished. So I want to say again on this Black History Month, salute to you. See, I knew it was the reason why I was starting with you.
Thank you.
Isn't that something? And you're so modest, and a lot of people don't even know this unless they read your bio, because it's not like you talk about these things. You know what I mean? You don't talk about these things, but that is amazing. And so kudos to you. Kudos to you. And again, I know that you have a team of people that you work with, and a lot of times, y'all, she didn't even want me to talk about stuff she did. She said, "Crystal, we need to talk about these things in the community that need to be dealt with." But I just want to let you know who we're listening to before we go into what needs to be dealt with. So in 96 to 2003, you founded and directed the first parent involvement education advocacy organization in Eastern North Carolina, Project Rescue of Wilson, North Carolina, which stands for Reaching Excellence and Saving Children Through Unity and Education. Reaching Excellence and Saving Children Through Unity and Education. There again, always think about the youth, the parents, and the people. And this organization operated as a social justice outreach of St. Mark's Episcopalian Church, providing active research on disappropriate suspensions and criminalization of young Black males in the county, coining the homeschool prison cycle. So you definitely, man, no wonder I forgot the program with Diane Powell and all those. No wonder you be out there with all that, because you sincerely take this to heart.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. When I first came here, I came here with some monies. I was one of the things that I noticed was that grassroots organizations wasn't getting funding, and to do the work.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten funding from an organization, a foundation called Mary Reynolds Babcock. They had a program that they called the Grassroots Grow organization, and they did is they trained grassroots people like myself to go back into the community and help other grassroots organizations learn how to increase the capacity of the organizations that they were trying to run. And so that's how I met Diana. That's how I met her. Because I had funds to what we did. We helped her get the we donated money so that she could pay the rent for her space. We helped wrote the bylaws for her organization. We tried to help her get her 501c3, but wasn't successful in that.
So you know how to do grants and all that.
Yeah.
So because I know when you so where we know you've gotten plenty of awards for the defenders of justice, for grassroots education, advocacy, so many things in the community, and the New Beginning Faith-Based Community Service Award to the community, and Campaign for Change, all the things you've done in the service. And I know that you started the Project Rescue, but then you changed the name to Mary Magdalene Ministries, and that is the organization which is the Grassroots Social Justice and Equity organization. So with that, now you're working with Campbell Law School. What's going on with Campbell Law School, Wake County Schools, Restoration?
No, that was just before COVID.
Okay.
We were looking at ways where we could defer some of our people out of the court systems. And so the idea was to create peacekeeping circles in the community, train so many people in the community to be peacekeeping circle facilitators, and then began to go in and in communities and use circle keeping as a tool to address trauma, where we engage people in deep, difficult conversation in safe places, talking about culture, talking about whatever it is that people have been traumatized from. We did that because of the lack of health care. North Carolina is last in the nation for providing behavioral health care.
Wow.
But yet still we have 92,000 cases of incidents of behavioral health. But rural children in rural areas, people in rural communities, with behavioral issues don't have the services.
Wow.
They don't have the services.
And that's where you focus. And I want to say thank you for the focus, because you do focus on not only that, but children with disabilities, people who have barriers with the English language. And you've committed like over 45 years serving these vulnerable, marginalized communities. And you have so much knowledge and experience that you've used to help foster, equity, justice, and elimination of internalized racial oppression and hypocrisy in the culture of these organizations. So I want to thank you for that. And so I wanted to acknowledge some of these things, because even though you didn't want to talk about some of the stuff you did, I feel as though it's important that we did, because the work you had boots on the ground, like they said, boots on the ground. You had the boots on the ground. You had the power of the pen, and that's what it takes. Now, there was some other thing that you told me that you said, Crystal, when we talked, there's some other things that I want to talk about. I want to make sure that I mention these things because I think they're important. So one of them had to do with a spiritual background, and then the topic that you brought up today. So I will let you tell me which one you want to address first.
Well, I think I want to address the issue of the 2-year minimum when it comes to housing people who are in public housing. And I first want to just apologize to the public, because I made a statement that the policy passed last week, and we got confused saying that it was the housing, it was the housing finance that passed last week. But
Okay.
the housing, the piece around the 2-year minimum is on the table. Is on the table right now. And what that
So,
means,
in other words, for this election going on right now, is it on there for this election with the primaries?
not with this election, but
Okay.
you know what? That's a HUD is a national policy. That's a national. What happens, and I'll go over it if you give me time. But in a nutshell, what it means is that within the next 2 years, or while Trump is in, is that they're looking to pass policy that puts a 2-year a maximum on how long you can be on public assistance if you are well, healthy, able-bodied, bodied person. You will not be able to be on unless you qualify for some special whatever. You will not be able to live in public housing. You will have to get out after 2 years, particularly if you have not done something to move towards upward mobility.
And you don't like that?
It's not that I don't like it. It's just that the people don't know it. And what's going to happen, Crystal, is that people don't know this, and people are not preparing now.
Right. That makes good sense. So I do agree, because I was going to say, I think they're doing it to motivate people. And I don't have a problem with that. I think people need to get motivated, because people get comfortable and they get stuck and they stay and they try to keep.
But that was the intent. You can't blame people for falling into a trap that was set for them. Welfare changed. It changed when Black people started getting welfare. You know, all the policies and all the rules. So it, and then who they targeted were children. You first of all, you over sexualize the children. You know, it's your thing. Do what you want to do. That, you know. So that was the culture. It was the drug culture.
Yeah.
So many of these parents who are my children's ages, which are 50 and or whatever, many of these kids were born to parents who were
single parents.
Well, they were victims of what they call the latchkey, and then everything that you heard. You know, the time was the 60s, the 70s, and then that time it was the sexual revolution. It was the sexual revolution. Mothers, you know, welfare changed, and moms had to get out of the house. They couldn't stay in the house and feed the kids. They had to go to work, you know, because marriages was breaking up. You know what I'm saying? So you destroyed the family. You destroyed the family structure, and then you turn around and you blame them for the outcomes. You blame, and then you start, and what's more, you even make us start to blame each other. Yes, people get comfortable, because who went into those projects were 13 and 14 and 15-year-old girls. You could take a letter, and I've done it, a sheet of paper, just like this sheet of paper here, just like this sheet of paper, write on it and say that a young girl who was kicked out of her mama's house because she became pregnant, that she was displaced, and they would put that child in the project. In a project, she would be 13.
Now, do me a favor, lean your screen so that we don't have so much space on the top of your head. Lean your screen so you don't have so much space. Thank you so much. Because I know my producer gonna get me if we don't do that. He gonna be like, "Why you got so much space up this?"
Okay.
So you're right. A lot of things just happen.
It's systemic. And because we don't see how the system has set it up, a lot of times we do, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to point our finger out and blame, because this is right why they're passing this policy now, because white liberals have made it up in their minds that Black folks are getting more than they are. Because these are the conversations that used to be had on my mom's front porch. That Black folks are just lazy. That's always been the concept about us. We built this doggone country But as far as in their eyes, we've all, to make us feel bad about ourselves, we're lazy. We know, but then they perpetuate a system that calls you to become dependent. And then that validates them calling you lazy.
Right. And like you said, they set it up that way.
They set it up that way.
And so now what you're saying is we need to have more conversations to make people aware so they don't end up homeless, knowing that, okay, you got a couple of years. If you have not bettered yourself, come up with more income.
If you don't show a plan that you've been trying to better yourself, you will be out of there.
And so you need to be looking at this. But, I would think that they're sending letters out or something.
You would think they did. No, ma'am. Because what passed last week, and I was with the group, and I have to go back and I have to explain to them. What passed last week was the funding piece for public housing.
Okay.
Because all the STEM programs and all the programs that they have available for folks who are in public housing or Section 8 housing, that money, that was the policy that passed last week. And I was actually on the line with a man named Gerald Bennett. He is the HUD housing liaison at the national level.
Okay.
And he was in a panic, state of urgency, trying to coordinate people across the country to stand up for the housing, for the
housing communities, and make sure.
Well, no, he wanted to make sure that this is the problem. He wanted to make sure that the funding for STEM didn't go away, which is a program that he has. Okay. I didn't understand what he was talking about when he was telling me how he needed me for, because I was the boss of public housing and how did I got out. And to me, that's not important how I got out. What's important is what are you going to do to inform the folks who are going to be kicked out, who are going to be victims of this policy, which is, let me see what the number was, 1.4 million people. Wow. 1.4 million people who are renters are at risk right now.
So what can the people do if they're watching this right now? If they go back and do this replay and they have a child or they are one of the residents and they're living in these places, what do they need to do?
They need to think about, what am I going to do to educate myself and get myself economically secure, so that when it's time for me to go, that I will have a degree, I will have a certificate, I will have listen, X-ray technicians don't take but about 2 years. All these folks that are doing
trade or certificate,
most of our girls are doing nursing assistants, or either doing hair or doing nails, and I'm just saying to you, get busy, because you will be kicked out if you don't show a history of, that I'm trying to do something or that I've been trying. You will be kicked out.
Wow. And so this is anyone in housing,
anyone
housing.
in HUD housing assistance, anyone that falls on the HUD housing. That's usually projects, Section 8 housing, subsidized housing. I'm telling you, 1.4 million people.
So even some seniors are affected by this.
No, I don't think the seniors are going to be too much affected by it. They say able-bodied people.
Okay, so the seniors will get a pass because they're not necessarily able-bodied anymore if they're a certain age, so they may get a pass. So that's good.
Now this is how they may be affected if we're not careful. If they're taking away the subsidies, because the subsidies are now the state has to if this passes, the state is going to have to pick up the cost for housing. What does that mean? If they don't have the money for education for your children,
right?
Have a sound basic education. Do you think they're gonna have money? Or they got the money, but you think they're gonna
Right. They're going to allocate it somewhere else.
They're going to allocate it somewhere else. And people are going to suffer. And people are going to suffer.
Should they, if they have a lot of times, like I would say, start by maybe looking at your lease. You know how long you've been there. Just reevaluate your personal situation. If you're coming across this, if you know your child, family member, sibling, neighbor, or somebody falls in this category, and you care about them, let them know, hey, listen, I know that you with the HUD. I heard that only 2 years, and listen, you've been living here about 1.5 years. So what, you got a plan? Ask them, you got a plan? Because you're going to have to show something, especially if you know they're not really doing anything.
And this is what we need to be doing, is informing. I called Troy Johnson the other day, and I was saying, anybody who's doing a podcast, anybody who wants to start a podcast, these are things,
these are the topics we need to talk about. These are the topics.
School to prison pipeline. It went for God knows how many years when Black folks wouldn't talk about it, but we had so many children being cycled into that detention center. Over and over and over and over again. But we weren't saying anything. We weren't advocating. People are on an individual level, but power comes in numbers.
Yes, it does. And that's why, I have this on my Facebook page. I have this. I tried to put it on LinkedIn. I don't think this time, but we may have to come back again and do this again and really continue to educate and let them know. But right now, the people will know what's happening. And it's on my page right now. And
well, I want to thank you for
shared on your page. On your page, I think it might be on your page right now too, if you accepted it. Okay, so we're live right now on Facebook on our pages too, so that's good. So the people will get in this word. So what we need y'all to do is to share this, and we may clip out certain pieces that are really important. But this right here is important.
It is crucial. It is crucial. I am so thankful because I got the whole thing with the policy that passed last week, which was the funding policy, because I guess he would want to be called Dr. Bennett, whatever, but I'm gonna call him Mr. Bennett. When he was so, it was such a sense of urgency for him, but he was and he was telling me how, I got to get involved, and I got to do this, and I'm going to Mar-a-Lago, and I got to have a report, and I got to do this. And Geraldine, you're right, because I talked about, I don't want to talk about STEM because, first of all, the funding for STEM, yes, it's important. It is very important. It is very important, but you want to do expos. You want to set up these expos in communities, and that's not what I do.
Right, but we need to do it, y'all. So, Geraldine, you can share it on your page because I just checked. That's why if you see me looking, I check. So it's live right now on Facebook too. So those 5,000 or more people are looking at it. So y'all share this. Share this.
Yeah, share it. Let's get the word out, y'all. I'm telling you, because the time is running. Time is not standing still. We are almost into the third month of 2026 already. We are already almost in 2026 right now. So we don't know when that policy is going to be passed. We don't know. But if you get ahead of the game, we already got more than 6,000 children in public schools who are homeless. We don't want to triple. We don't want to double those numbers, and because people were unaware of what was getting ready to happen. What's getting ready to happen, y'all, is you're going to be on a 2-year limit. They call it a minimum 2-year limit. That is the most you're going to be in there. If you're an able-bodied person, ain't nothing wrong with you, and you have not shown no progress towards trying to better yourself, and whatever, in 2 years you're going, they don't care where you're going. You're going out of them. And the other thing is, people who have families who were maybe not legal at the time you were living in public housing, when that law passed, and with this group that's in here, it's going to pass. when that law passed, if you had a son, a husband, a brother, or if yourself, because they were giving people without citizenship public housing, right? Well, if you were there and you were not legal, you're going to have to pay that money back.
Oh, wow. So you have to stay on top of things. Now, where can people go if they want to follow up and get this information? Where can they go and get this information? If
they can go. Listen, you can go right on your what's the thing called, AI, and ask AI the question. Chat GTP, AI. Because I know you ain't gonna go through that 2000 whatever page of the 2026 bill, but AI will explain it to you, make it clear to you. And and I'm saying to you, no, it has not passed yet. It has not passed yet, but you don't want to wait till it passes.
That's right. That's right. Because what she's saying is, bottom line, if you're in public housing, watch your back, because your time is limited and you need to be doing something to better yourself, or you're going to be caught out there.
You better get motivated. You better get motivated. You better get informed and motivated.
Informed. So any other laws that they need to be aware of that's coming through the pipeline, that's happening, or any other changes taking place while we're on that subject that they need to be aware of?
Well, I'm sure that there are, but right now that one hit me because I was personally involved with Dr. Bennett when he talked about it.
Okay.
And when I found out that he was just concerned about the funding and not about informing the people about what was going to happen. And that's why I said, no, I can't do this work. I can't fight for the funding for STEM and know that people's lives are at stake. No.
So I know a lot of people who are for STEM right now because they're promoting the STEM programs for other reasons. Like there are some positives.
Yes, there is
STEM program, but they may not understand what it's going to do. They may not understand. They may like STEM, but they may not understand that it's going to be one or the other.
No.
Is that what it is? It's kind of like they're going to.
No, that's not what it is. What's happening for folks who have STEM in public housing?
Mm-hmm.
People, whoever is doing, and what they try to do is get into the colleges and get those guys at the college to come in and mentor children who are living in public housing. So any public housing program that involves STEM, that program is at risk because they did pass the policy this time to cut that money.
They just don't want to see us do a lot of things, but in one instance, for some people, it will fuel them. For some people, it will fuel them, it will push them, and for other people, they're gonna be in trouble.
If you have a spirit of complacency,
yes,
and that's what our problems are, is that we have a spirit of complacency, a spirit of distraction. We are easily distracted with other things. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, there's a crisis in our lives every day, just about it. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that can cause a distraction. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not here to say, you don't care. That's not what I'm here to say. I'm just here to say, wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake
so, you know what? You and I may have to do this more regularly, like maybe once a month, because you're so in tune. And maybe we can create a way to wake the people up, to bring them awareness. Because one of the things here on Storytime Podcast I want to do, Geraldine, is to help transform, inform, heal, and empower the people. It's not, there's a lot of podcasts out here that are entertaining, but that's not what I do. Mm-hmm. We're sharing stories with hope that from the testimonies and from the journey that everybody has gone through, it's going to empower others. That's what the mission of Storytime Podcast is, empowerment. So I want you to know that maybe you and I can talk offline about possibly doing something on a more regular basis. I would be open to that. I'm supposed to get with Anthony Pope to talk about the bankruptcy and saving people's properties, because a lot of people are losing their property. You know, anybody that I talk to that come on this show that is doing something for our people, I welcome you to utilize this platform on a regular basis so we can educate one another. Y'all always see me posting, but that's what God called me to do. That's why I'm the Hope Catalyst, right? It's not about me. It's just about me providing you a platform to use your voice to spread the knowledge and the expertise that you have to help others. So let's talk about that so we can make that happen on a regular basis. I have a series right now where we're doing prepared mindset. I have the dementia, certified dementia practitioner. I have a mental health counselor, and I have a financial advisor. I don't have nothing in this area. So on a monthly basis, we're coming through with information in those areas. So perhaps you and I can do that, because we need to make sure we save our people.
Yes.
We have to save our people.
Listen, all we can do is inform them.
That's
You
it.
know what I'm
But
saying?
for information, you know, what
Yes,
did the
yes,
good book
yes, yes,
say?
yes, yes. If we can motivate them, they can save themselves.
That's it. But what did the good book say in Habakkuk 2? Our people are destroyed
for a lack of knowledge.
So all I'm saying is I'm offering my space.
And
my
I'm
time.
accepting your space. You tell me you lead this horse, and I'm going to follow, because you know what? There's nothing more important than keeping our people informed. And I want to say that April 17th, you know, for 1 year, I have gone through this community, and I'm sure there's a lot of men with locks out there that knows Mama G now. I went through and I interviewed 146 men.
You don't have your locks anymore? You still have your locks, right?
No, I don't have locks now.
You had them though.
I had them.
You cut them. There's a reason why you cut them, I'm sure.
There is. There is. But what I was doing when I won't talk about my journey to Jamaica, my life-changing journey. I came back with a task, and my task was to first of all, in Wilson County, I started the locks movement down there in like the maybe 80s, 88, somewhere along up in there. Nobody was wearing locks. Nobody was wearing locks at the time. And I was doing what my daddy did, you know. And so they tried to fire me off my job and whatever, you know, but you can't force a person to wear their hair in a way that can cause them harm. And what I said then has proven to be true, because our folks have gotten cancer from hair products, and that was my thing back then. You can't force me to put something in my hair that's going to be harmful to me. And so they were trying to fire me off my job and whatever. But anyway, I wanted that. But I started in the public schools with those same kids who they labeled retarded and this, because that's what they called kids at that time, failing and all this kind of stuff. And so I started in a middle school, and I started with young Black boys, and I began to teach them about the Rasta movement, Bob Marley, about the revolutionary movement, and what it meant to be poor kids, and what it meant to be fight against poverty, and it just took off. I mean, it just took off. The boys that were not reading, young men who were not reading books, started reading books, and it got to the point where the librarian called me and told me, Miss Blackston, my name was Blackston then, Miss Blackston, we are so glad that you got the boys to reading, but you got to please tell them to stop tearing the pages out the book.
Oh, wow.
So when I see those young men, now not all of them, but when I see many of those young men, and one of the things that I charged them to do was that we used to do drumming, and then we would do chant psalms. They loved it. So they would moving from other people's programs, and they were coming to my program, and that's when I started getting a lot of flack from the community. You know, you must got them selling drugs, because they didn't understand why they were so attracted to what I was doing, but it was teaching them their culture.
Yes.
It was connecting them to you know, to the Bible, and helping them to understand that you are reflected in that Bible. You are these great men, you know, and it stayed with them, you know. So now I see those men who followed. They followed. Listen, they stayed out of they stayed out of jail.
Okay, there you have it.
They stayed out of jail. They still wear their locks. Some of the women whose children that I work with, they started one of the first locticians came out of the projects.
Wow.
Came out of the projects. They started a shop, set up a shop in Wilson. Very first loctician, because like I said, nobody else wasn't wearing them. And we did a pottery class for the children. I'll never forget it. I had 45 children. All 45 children they were making heads. And all 45 children, their head that they made had locks in it. And it caught on, and it spreaded. I mean, it spreaded. So when I look back now and I think about when you started, nobody was wearing locks. But I know, and so I went through that 146 men, asking them the question, why do you wear locks? And 99% of them didn't know. Some had a somewhat of an idea. But what was beautiful about it was that when I asked them, can I teach you? May I teach you? And they would all say, yes, ma'am, please go ahead. And when I finished telling them what I had to tell them, it was almost like you could see a spirit lift up off of them. Some of them cried. Some of them shed tears. They thanked me over and over and over again, and they would say things like, I knew I was more than that. I knew it was something, you know. And so that made me realize, one, that we got to do this thing on a larger scale. So I'm doing actually it's two things. It's one, it is I call it a community rebirth and restoration project.
Okay.
And the project is simply to dispel the negative narratives that have been given to our Black men, particularly those men who are wearing locks, and connect them back to the Nazarite movement, and letting them know what a powerful group of men you are, and that, you know, the Lord, the Most High, is calling you back into the covenant. He's calling you back into the covenant right now. So you have to change your mindset, because you are the social justice workers. You are the judges. You are the prophets. You are the priest. But you're not walking in where you're supposed to be, because somebody has made you feel like it's about the color of your skin, that you're not this because of the color of your skin. But it's not about the color of your skin. It is the covenant that you're in. That's why they hate you, because of the covenant that you're in. Because those are right. That you know, God gives His strength. He gives His strength to these men. He gives you vision. He gives you discernment. He gives you all of those gifts that you have, and nine times out of 10, you taking them with you to your grave. So that awakening in itself creates.
And so you have a program for that coming up that people need to know about. Can they sign up? Can they register?
Yeah, let me get everything booked and ready. You know what I'm saying? But the plan is for April 17th.
Okay, where is it going to be? In Raleigh and Wilson?
It's going to be here in Raleigh, probably at the Ezra Center.
Okay.
More than likely at the Ezra Center. But I want to recognize 113 men with locks.
Okay.
I want to recognize, and I want to
women.
I ain't messing with women right now, because women. I'm sorry, I ain't messing with the women right now. Look, you can't tell the women.
But I get it.
You can't tell my sisters nothing. They do hair. When they do hair, they think they know it all. They think they got it all. But you know, I just let it be. God didn't tell me to do women. He told me to do men.
So you being obedient. I got you.
He
I
told
was
me to
just
do
messing
men.
with you. I was just
He didn't
messing
tell
with you.
me. He didn't tell me to do women, and women don't receive it anyway. Not the way men do. I'm telling you, when you can see the spirit rise up off the men, and it hadn't been not one out of 146, not one was different.
You know what? That's respect too, because they respect the elders. Because you see, we. You don't think so?
No. I'm listening. I'm sorry. I was just turning. No, no. I
Yeah,
think.
because I
Yeah.
believe it's also respect too. Because
Yes.
you've been doing this a long time, and both of us are almost 70. Or did you turn 70 already?
I'm 72.
See what I'm saying? So, it's our duty to do what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because we are the women of that uh generation. And there was already a lost generation. So we have to inform those and continue to spread the awareness and the knowledge. So good. So when you get that information, let us know. We'll share the flyers. We'll do whatever we do. You have anything else coming up you want to let the people know? As we get ready to try to close this out, we're going to have to come back. We're going to have to bring her back, y'all, because she has so much information. See, I told you she was a community activist, a social justice person, a person who's passionate about helping. She's already changed many laws and helped so many people and started so many things. And I just want to again congratulate you for that, because that's what we need. We need people who are out here making it happen. Respect to you and your family for putting that in you, for showing you how to do it. And congratulations for you for taking the torch and continuing on with it. But is there anything else that you have coming up that you want to share?
Well, I want to share this. I don't want us to forget about our brothers and sisters over in Jamaica who have lost houses, who have lost everything, everything. I know we don't hear about it in the news now, but y'all, the people are still suffering. The people are still suffering. Babies walking around traumatized. This is where my mama's house, my mama's mattress. This is when we used to walk through this. That hurts me more than anything else in this world, to see a baby 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old, walking through rubble, remembering. Nothing. These people are
That's
left.
sad.
No
Yeah, that's sad.
water, no water. Imagine a woman having her monthly and not being able to take a bath,
Ooh.
for how long? Not having sanitary products.
Oh my goodness, y'all forgive me. I'm moving my light around. I have vertigo. Sometimes when I put this light on me, and sometimes it gets to me when it's looking right at me. So I shift it around a little bit, so it's not focusing on me directly, because it kind of gets to me after a while. But yeah, that's hard. That's hard. Jamaica. Lord, we sending prayers out to everybody in Jamaica to send resources.
But we can do more. We can
need
do more.
resources. They need
And
resources.
so let me tell you what we're doing with that. We have a community collective called Together for Jamaica.
Okay.
One of the ways that we bridge gaps, because see, we over here we want to think that the Jamaicans don't like us, the Africans don't like us, and whatever. That's the other thing that we have got to stop. We have got to stop. Tribal warfare needs to end. That's why we're in slavery, because of tribal warfare. Okay, that means our brothers and sisters who came who went to war and tore down the seven kingdoms of Africa, warred against each other and took each other and sold each other into slavery. Okay, that is called tribal warfare, and we still see that among us. When you talk about Jamaica, all of us came over on the same ship.
Okay.
We came over on the same ship. It's just that one was ruled by Britain and the other one is England and Britain and America. We're talking about Africans in diaspora. We have got to show the love.
We have to show the love. So tell them how they can show the love.
We don't ever know when it's going to be our turn.
Yes, that's the fact, the way things are going. So tell them how they can contribute or partner, or if they're looking, is it a 501c3 organization that's doing that?
We're doing it under Mary Magdalene Ministries. What we're doing is that we are trying to raise money what we've done is we take on school, which is Green Primary School, and we have a what we call a fidget project. And the fidget project, we purchased the fidgets over here, and we were sending them over to the school. And the fidgets are to help these children with the trauma.
Now, what is a fidget? I
fidget is a little toy.
It's
It's like a little toy that they put in their hand, and they constantly use it. They constantly flip it, flick it, kick,
okay.
but because it helps with trauma.
Gotcha.
So we've adopted one school, and so we're sending these fidgets over there so that they can work with these children with trauma.
Okay.
We're gonna see how the first one worked, and then we might try to keep adopting other schools.
Okay.
We've identified
so how can they donate? I want to put it up here so they can reach you. How can they send? So if they want to donate to you, how can they do it?
Well, give them my email first, because I haven't gotten that set up yet, but I'm gonna set that up soon. We got the bank account, but we just hadn't set up the other piece. But you can put my email there that they can email me about what I'm saying. So we're asking
email. What's the email?
Mary, Mary, Magdalene, Magdalene, Ministries, Ministries, and then B for breaking, V for vicious, C for cycles @gmail.com. So they can just reach out to me there, and then I can get the information.
So let me call it back to you real quick. I have Mary, MAGDALENE, Ministries.
Let me respell Magdalene.
Ministries. No, did I spell that wrong? MAGDALENE.
That's right. That's right.
And then Ministries, MINISTRIES. B as in Bravo, V as in Victor, C as in Charlie @gmail.com.
That's correct.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna put this up here so y'all can donate to her here. If you're just coming in
and become a part of the collective, so that we got one man that we're helping to a sheet of 10 is $45 in our money. So we're asking people, we'll take money and we will donate to the church while the pastor drive his Tesla and we drive our Chevrolet or whatever it is that we're driving. You know what I'm saying?
And you're talking to a woman who is about making things happen, y'all. If you just come in and we talked about how she's been the first Black female referee of the American Amateur Boxing Federation. You're talking to a woman who has put things in action and has laws have changed. So now we're trying to make a difference. So you see what it says, please donate by contacting her email. And I put the email up there. So please do that. So you can do that.
Yes. And become a part, become a part of the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised what we could do if you took, let's just say, my original plan was to have 5,000 people donate 25. Can you imagine what we could do with that?
Right.
Can you imagine what we could do with that? We could help out in Jamaica. We could help out right here. There's so many things that we could do because people need help. People really need help, and helping our young men to move forward from mindset change to businesses. Several of the banks are wrapping around this project to provide financial literacy.
So this is what I'm going to do, because ladies and gentlemen, Miss Geraldine be passionate about what she do. So I'm going to get with you so we can definitely come back and do a part 2. We got to do a continuation because this is a lot. This is a lot, but I'm thankful that you are my first person I have to kick off this Black History recognition. It's halfway through the month, but a couple of people that I've been waiting for I haven't been able to reach. So I had to go ahead and keep it going. So for the rest of the month, we have some interesting stories you're going to hear. But I'm going to put the camera on you, and I just want you to give us like a closing remark. You can remind the people about this or whatever you want to say. Just give them closing remarks on what you want them to take away from this segment that we're doing today. And then we'll come back with more. Just remind them your name, the name of your organization, what you are doing, and anything you want to say. I'll give you the opportunity now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, just want to say thank you to Crystal for providing me with this opportunity. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to inform our community. The first thing I want to say to our people is word of mouth is one of the easiest ways to spread information. So the first thing I would want you to do is to take this information, even if you didn't get the full understanding of what it is that I'm saying, to make it simple. If we don't prepare for these 2-year minimums that you can be in public housing, and folks don't know that, and they not working towards it, it could be a catastrophe for you and your family. So please spread the word, Ask people, do you know about it? Do you know about it? Have you heard about it? Have you heard about it? Y'all better start getting ready. People better start getting ready. Just spread the word, because it would really be so painful that this information, that this is happening and the people don't know anything about it. The second thing is that we are about mindset change, and we are doing the work on the ground. Please, when you find out about like I said, April 17th, we ask you to come by and support that event, because we want to support those 113 men with locks. 3, we also want to show our brotherhood and our concern for the people over in Jamaica who are having such a hard time, y'all. I'm telling you, $45, $50, $25, you'd be surprised how far it would go in Jamaica. You'd be surprised at how far it would go. And I know a lot of times, y'all, we waste that much money a month. I know I do. Waste that much money a month. But I'm just asking you, please donate so that we can do some things for not only ourselves, but for our brothers over in Jamaica. So I'm Geraldine Alshamy. The organization is Mary Magdalene Ministries. I do appreciate every one of you who are listening in tonight. I really, really, really appreciate you. I hope you will share this live. Please share it. And please, my email is in the contacts. Please, if you want to be a part of the work, if you want to support the work, if you just want to learn more, please contact me. I want to say,
have it. That's it.
Everybody, sending you peaceful love vibes and all that other stuff. So thank you. Peace and blessings.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. You heard it from Miss Geraldine, and we'll be back. We're going to have her back so we can continue to spread awareness. That's what we're here for. Storytime Podcast is a place where we are allowing ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things to come on and share what they're doing, share their expertise, their knowledge, and their works, the good deeds that they're doing, and let us know what's coming up next. So please, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and look for what you want to hear more of. You can even comment and tell us if there's something you need to know about, something you have a concern about in the community. I would say, tell us. I mean, she said she gets called all the time, and she's the woman to make it happen. I'm telling you.
And I still do advocacy for children in public school, children with special needs. I stopped for last year, but I've started back doing advocacy for children.
So there you have it. So put it in the comments. Share this podcast segment. All right. Everybody be sharing all that stuff. Like, they're going to share the stuff when something crazy happened, and, people got 11-carat rings, and they're going to share that. They're going to share all the drama and all the trending stuff. But we need to share this, because somebody going to lose their place. Somebody might lose their house.
Okay?
So we need to share this. All right. My name is Crystal. I'm your Hope Catalyst. My mission is to stir up, to give, instill hope, and save lives. You've been watching Storytime Podcast. Make sure, if you have a Roku TV, you can watch us on that TV in your home. If you don't want to watch computer, you can watch it on your television. We have Hope Catalyst TV. So we have our own channel. It's going to be coming to other TVs also. Right now, we're in a Roku device, and there will be on others. So we're doing some amazing things. This definitely is going to be out there because we want to reach you all around the world. Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow night. This week, we're fully loaded. We got a show tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday, and Sunday. We're coming to you this month. We're coming hard during Black History Month to bring you awareness, okay? So subscribe, tell somebody you saw it here on Storytime. I love you. God bless you. Thank you so much, Miss Geraldine. We'll be talking soon, okay?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. Tell somebody you love them. Make sure you pay attention to one another. Listen, all right, to one another. And tell somebody you love them today. See you on the next Storytime, and keep hope alive, all right? Thank you.
Sending peace and love. Sending peace and love.
Peace, love, and happiness, and hope.
A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for story time. Hey, come on.